So what I want to do is I would like to the best of my ability, not very well scripted, take you to the edge of the we're not there yet part of North Point. And to take you to the edge of the we're not there yet part in terms of my leadership. And so what I do, a lot of you do a version of this. Whenever I read a quote in a book or hear something that I think is, oh my gosh, I don't want to forget that, what I do is I type it out on a big 8.5 by 11 piece of paper like this, then I fold it and I stick it on my bookshelf in my study. I have a little study off my office where I study, so I can just look at this stuff all the time. So when you walk in my study, you don't see as many books as you do these things hanging around, because there's just some ideas and some thoughts and some sayings that I just feel like reflect where I am in my struggle as a leader and in my struggle to figure out what does God want us to do as an organization. And every once in a while, you hear a quote like that, and it's like, I don't want that to just go on my notes. I want to look at that every day until it begins to shape my heart. Do you do that, or you have cards, or, however you do that? So here's what I decided to do today. I went in my study Tuesday morning, and I wrote down 5 of these things that I look at every day, and I just want to talk to you about them. This is like as current, bleeding edge, struggle, open-ended, I can't resolve this, don't ask me any questions about it because I'm going to tell you all I know about it. So instead, each one of these 5 things could be an entire talk, but I don't know enough about them to talk about them. So this is just current, raw, nuts and bolts stuff. So if you would turn to page 86 in your books, that's a blank page, okay? Those are just open notes. You may have filled them up from some of the breakouts, but if you keep turning, there's some places there to take notes. And I just want to lead you through these 5 random, disconnected. This is not an outline. These are, in fact, the name of this talk is Recent Random Thoughts on Church and Leadership. That's what I named this, Recent Random Thoughts on Church and Leadership. And this is just the download of what I'm thinking about and struggling with right now and what we're talking about. In fact, I'm going to give you currently what we're talking about as a staff. So I hope this is helpful, but I would rather talk about this than the other thing anyway, so bear with me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the quote, and they probably won't stay up there long enough for you to write them down. We'll put all these on the website that have all the fill in the blanks. And then I'm going to talk about each one of these for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to give you a takeaway that based on this quote, here's what I'm thinking the takeaway is for those of us who are church leaders, because none of these are original thoughts. These are just things I've heard somebody else say that just sort of rattled my cage, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with them. So this is kind of where we are. So the first one is by Craig Groeschel. Many of you know Craig from Life Church. And this is what he said. I was at a conference where he was speaking. This was not even a point he made. He just said this in a sentence, and I just wrote it down and couldn't listen to anything else he said. To reach people no one else is reaching, we must do things no one else is doing. To reach people no one else is reaching, we must do things no one else is doing. This so got in my head, I actually had my assistant print this and about this big and frame it and put it in our conference room. Every Monday when our leadership team meets, next to the whiteboard is this statement: to reach people no one else is reaching, we must do things no one else is doing. I don't want to ever forget that. I don't care how big and successful we are. I want us to constantly be looking outside the walls of this church and ask the question, yeah, but what about them? What about them? What about them? What about them? Because as you know, the phone never rings with people who don't go to your church asking about why you don't do things in your church. It's the church people that drive you crazy and eat up all your time, right? And you got to shepherd the sheep, no doubt about that. But because the sheep need so much attention, it is easy to forget about the sheep that aren't, where they need to be. And so consequently, we can spend all our time and energy, reaching the reach. We all know that. And when he said that, he was giving sort of the story of Life Church. And he said, if we're going to reach people nobody else is reaching, we got to do things nobody else is doing. And I said, you know what? We're going to let this bother us until we figure out what else we need to do to reach the people nobody else is reaching. The thing that hangs in my office that just keeps this in front of me, and this has been here for over a year, is I wrote down how many unreached, unchurched people there are in a 10-mile radius around Buckhead Church, around Alpharetta that's here, and around Browns Bridge. And this hangs in my office. Because every Sunday I sit in here and I talk to a full room. I can start patting myself on the back going, got a big church planner, 3 campuses. They come and sit in rows to listen to you share. I could get all caught up in that. But I look at this. There's 300,000 unchurched people within a 10-mile radius of Buckhead Church. 300,000. So what? We got 5,000. That means there's 295,000 people that get up on Sunday morning and go, oh. 170,000 people. And we've been in this location for 9 years? And there's 170,000 people in a 10-mile radius. They could drive here who don't go to church anywhere. 35,000 around Brownsbridge. See, when you get up to Brownsbridge, you went, does anyone live out here? You know, isn't that what you're thinking? 35,000, best that we can tell, unchurched people. I want that to bother me. I don't want that to quit bothering me. And to be honest, it's easy for that not to bother me because we're kind of full. We're doing okay. We're paying the bills. And so I just want this to just rattle me and rattle our staff every time we gather in the conference room. If we're going to reach people nobody else is reaching, we've got to do things nobody else is doing. And apparently, in this community, having cool worship services is not an inviting thing or is not something that 175,000 people around here are interested in. So if I'm going to reach them, we got to do something else. We got to do something different. You say, well, what? That's why I'm telling you. That's as far as I know to go on this. I don't know. But I don't want that to ever not bother me. And you know what? I don't want it to ever not bother you. And the more successful you are in your church plant, the more successful you are in transitioning your church, the less unreached people will bother you. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of church. When I was in China a few weeks ago, and I'm trying to process all that too. That's another whole thing. And I was in a business. This American guy has this business where they make. I'm not even supposed to talk about it out loud. But anyway, he's got this business, and he's using his business as a ministry because in China there's all this restriction. But if you have a business, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So he's a Christian, and so he does like ministry inside this business. Very, very cool. And so there's a young lady there, about 20-something years old, and she had been brought off the floor where, they sit there and they, from now on when I see made in China, I have a whole new appreciation because I've seen them there making it in China, and it's amazing. So they brought her off the floor and are sort of training her for middle management. She's standing against the wall while this guy's explaining his business, and she said, I have a question. And in her very broken English, she said, Pastor, this is her question, as sincere as she could be. She said, why doesn't everybody in America go to church and believe in Jesus? I didn't even know what to say. I just stared at her. I thought, number one, I don't know the answer. Number two, if I knew, I don't know that's not a soundbite answer, is it? Pastor, why doesn't everybody in America go to church and believe in Jesus? And then she said, because of that message, I'm no longer atheist. Why doesn't everybody go to church? In other words, she's going, this message so radically changed me as a 20-something-year-old living in a communist environment. You mean to tell me there are people who can go and have choices and they get up and they don't go? Explain that to me. And I thought, I can't explain that. But I hope that bothers me the rest of my life. If you're going to reach unchurched people in your community, if you're going to reach people in your community nobody else is reaching, you are going to have to do things nobody else is doing. Because there's a group of people who are unchurched, and what you're currently doing will never, ever work for them. You can change the music, the style, dress different, and take the pews out. They still aren't going to be reached. So what are we going to do? And maybe most importantly, how are we going to let that bother us? Here's the takeaway I came up with. Become preoccupied. And I borrowed that word from Reggie Joyner. He has an incredible talk on this around this word. Become preoccupied with who you haven't reached, as opposed to those you are trying to keep. Become preoccupied with those you haven't reached, as opposed to those you're trying to keep. One of the first questions I ask church leaders is this, when they're trying to transition to church or church plant. I go, you got to decide, this is the fundamental decision up front. Are you going to be more committed to those you're trying to reach or those you're trying to keep? This is just a fundamental decision. And everybody gives the right answer. Very few people are willing to act on it. I'm just telling you. Very few churches, when it comes right down to it, are willing to do what it takes to be a reaching organization as opposed to a keeping organization. It's expensive, it's risky, people leave, people get mad, people who love Jesus hate you. It just becomes a mess. And some of you, I know, and it's easy for me to say now, some of you are right in the middle of that. But we as churches, we've got to become preoccupied with who's not reached rather than those we're trying to keep. And I'm telling you, the longer you're in your current environment, the less preoccupied you will be. And the longer I'm in this environment, the less preoccupied I will be. Because there's so much to do with the people that have already been reached. If we together are going to reach people that haven't been reached, we together have got to figure out some new ways to do it. And I don't know the answer to that. And that bothers me. And I hope it never stops bothering me. So I put it right in the conference room so it can bother us every time we meet as a leadership team.